continuing on here. So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to officially start our meeting.
Let's start it.
All right, Chef Reese, motion. A second, please.
Second.
Chef Greif, thank you. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, we're just going to go ahead and get started. All right. First thing, if you could all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I will unmute all and make sure that you can see. I'm going to assume you can see my screen here.
Your flag.
Okay. I pledge of allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chef Geip.
For food, for raiment, for life, for opportunity, for friendship, for fellowship, we thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Well, welcome officially then our May meeting for our ACF Harrisburg chapter. I am going to go ahead and mute all at this point so that we can continue on with our meeting. You are able to unmute yourself if you need to, or if you would like to enter something in the chat to get my attention directed to you. I would like to start off with the meeting minutes from last month. I am going to pull up here our mise en place minutes so that everyone can view. They were added on to our website, as well as added on to, or sent out in an email. Was there any discussion anyone would like to have on our minutes? Actually, I would like to start with the discussion, if I could, and asking if anybody actually is viewing our minutes. And the reason I ask is I probably spent a good 2 or 3 hours to put this newsletter together. And while I realize there's some just common information in here, it does also include all of our meeting locations. Just a minute, please. It does include all of our meeting locations, as well as in the minutes, I have included some different links here for us. We had talked about all of the education being now in our newsletter, so there's all these videos here for you. And then, like I said, as I continue on, I do have other links for the food bank, as well as the Ronald McDonald House. There was some media that came out for the NASA and Hunch competition. So I've included those YouTube videos that really recap exactly what we were talking about. So there are some extra resources available within this website, or within this mise en place. So I just wanted to make sure everybody had the opportunity to look at it, and more so confess to the fact that I generally did not look at it as often as I probably should have, but I'm asking you to maybe change that and start viewing it a little bit more as it's coming out there. And more so, how can we make it exciting that you want to read it is another concept I want to ask as well. Any feedback on that?
We are getting a lot more feedback and more activity on our website. So I know a lot of people have been pushing the educational component, and I do know that it is being accessed all over the country. People are accessing that because it's already vetted. You already have vetted, and your team has vetted the resource material. So it's very user-friendly for educators. So that is really getting a lot of hitting. People are opening up and using those so that they don't have to fish through the YouTube themselves. And, you know, sometimes you get things on YouTube that halfway through it, the individual starts swearing or cussing, or, you know, so this way, you know, everything that's on our website is clean and polished, and we just keep adding to it.
Thank you, Chef. Any other discussion on the minutes or the mise en place before we call for a motion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, then I'd like to entertain a motion, please, for the minutes.
Call for the vote. Second.
Was that Chef Geip for a vote to approve the minutes, and Chef Harris for a second? The motion is to approve the minutes as written in our mise en place for April. All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, motion will carry as approved. Okay, next up I have the treasurer's report, in which case once again, I'm going to try and share my screen here. Actually, let me first go back. I'm going to mute all again so we can hear. I'll share my screen to show you the treasurer's report for May 18th. We had very limited activity. 44 cents in interest was added to our savings account. The total balance then is our $9,278.90, with the checking account remaining at $2,532.98. And savings account is now at $6,745.92. Please note that no charges were made for the ACF conference, as was discussed in our last meeting. As the way that the timeline worked, no funds were dedicated that are waiting for reimbursement there, which we'll get to in just a few minutes. Okay, I will unmute you all. I will need a motion then for the treasurer's report.
I make a motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear who the first was.
It's me, Chef Tim.
Thank you. All right, the motion is to approve the treasurer's report as written. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, likewise. All right. Carry the motion. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mute you all again and go through my president's report here, president's message, before we move on to our education. So I want to take a few minutes to congratulate all of the students that have graduated. I know Faith had mentioned a recent graduate of our Baking and Pastry Arts program and is going to be getting her CPC here as soon as she can fill out that application. I know we have several other students, a lot of students in the post-secondary programs that graduated last Thursday would have been their commencement, as well as it looks like the first week of June for all of our secondary students. So I wanted to extend my congratulations to everyone because it is quite the accomplishment. And I was really looking forward to being there last Thursday myself. And one of my bucket list items is to be able to call all the names. And I will get to that definitely one of these days here. So congratulations to all of you that have definitely achieved quite an accomplishment here. With that, you know, along the lines of cancellations, we did have one other big cancellation come through this past week, which was the ACF National Convention that was scheduled in Dallas for in July. It was not fully canceled, but the physical presence of it was canceled. So it will be moving to a virtual platform, which is fantastic. There's a lot of different things that everyone will be able to access, and I think that's great. However, that does cancel all of the competitions as well, and I will let Faith speak to that here a little bit later on. But you know, through all these cancellations and different, you know, ceremonies and certification exams and things like that that are being canceled, I'm really proud of all the students and the educators that have really pulled through. I mean, this is not easy, and instead of just sitting at home, you know, all different chefs here are doing videos and really trying to support our students, which I think are excellent. And our students really stepped up this pie competition. 12 students entered pies. They all look different. Everyone was excited to do so. We really were excited to highlight them. So congratulations to Rashida Carter. She won our first place for creative uses of spices and the custard in the pie, as well as her decorative finish. Honorable mentions, congratulations to Claren Groff from Lancaster County CTC. She got her honorable mention for the most appetizing slice of pie. Donald Barch from Hack got the honorable mention for the most unusual flavor combination. If you remember, he had the sauerkraut and the consistency of his finished pies. And then Jordan Mitchell, another student from Lancaster County Career and Technology Center, for her most innovative dough design and decoration. So congratulations to all of you, as well as those students that were recipients of the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association Scholarship. That would be Elena Jenkins Miranda, Larissa Ely, Colin Bauer, and Connor Woodburn. Congratulations to you all as well. And then also, you know, it would be remorse if I didn't mention all those that are working currently and doing extreme work. I'd like to mention Thad Campbell and his team of chefs that have over 1,900 residents that have 0 cases of COVID-19 right now, which I think is extremely awesome to hear. They are producing, he said, over 5,900 meals a day. And at least that includes 1 4-course meal delivered to each resident each day, which I think is really awesome. And I know a lot of us, again, are all doing our own things, but it's great to hear everyone succeeding and hopefully seeing the brighter side and different opportunities that we can be included in. And as always, I encourage you to support your local restaurants also and the takeout. And the website carryoutpa.com will include a lot of different varieties for you. And I think that's becoming even more popular now. A lot of restaurants moving into the takeout region or takeout offerings. Different regions are opening up in different time frames. I know I live in Dauphin County, which is still in the red zone and does not have any sites, being talked about yet of opening up any further. So I think at this point we can safely say our next meeting in June will be held via Zoom, and we will talk about that a little later on as well. So again, I commend everyone on the great work and effort all around that we continue to keep going strong here. So welcome again to our meeting. I thank you all for joining us. We have some great education lined up here. Shana Schultz is here with us. Originally was going to host us for the meeting, and instead I welcomed her to join us with Zoom. I'm excited that she's here. Ever since I wrote down the words, this DeLunga coffee, I just keep seeing it everywhere. So I'm anxious to see different varieties and really hear what she has to say as far as the nutritional aspects of the different dairy products. Shana, I know you were with us earlier here. Are you able to, just want to make sure you're still with us and you're...
I'm here.
Okay, great. And you should be able to share at any point in time as you would like to. And I'll go ahead and mute my screen. That way it's all you. Thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody, for having me here. Like she said, I'm one of the nutritionists for Giant. And I'm actually out of the Camp Hill store and run the cooking school there. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, see. All right. Does that work? Can everybody see that?
Yes, we can see that.
All right, thank you. So as Chef Autumn said, I'm going to be talking a little bit about dairy and an overview of that from a nutrition standpoint. So I'm going to give you a quick update on the nutrition profile of milk and some new research that has come out about that regarding the fat content. Also going to chat just briefly about some milk alternatives. I'm sure all of you have seen the wide variety of milk alternatives that are out there. So I just want to give a little snippet about the nutrition component of that since they are so trendy. And then also I wanted to touch base a little bit about the different specialty cheeses that we carry at Giant. We have a lot of fun things to offer as well as some local products as well. And then to finish up with this Dalgona coffee trend that's been really amping up lately. So to start off with dairy, of course, when we talk dairy, we're thinking milk, cheese, yogurt. The recommendation that we're looking for is to try to get about 3 servings of dairy per day. Most Americans do not hit that at all. Most Americans get 1, maybe 2 servings of dairy. So just something to throw out there. When we're thinking about a serving of dairy, we're talking either a cup of milk, an ounce of cheese, a 6-ounce container of yogurt. And then, of course, why we want to have more dairy in our day, it's going to provide us with vitamins, minerals, especially your calcium, vitamin D, phosphorus, zinc, and potassium. And just a quick note about that, vitamin D as well as zinc, those are 2 nutrients that are kind of hard to come by in food. Not a lot of foods have vitamin D in particular. Milk, salmon, and eggs are actually the very few foods that do. And then zinc, same thing. Not a whole lot of foods out there contain zinc. And zinc is actually a nutrient that your body does not store for a long period of time. So the amount of zinc that we need in a day, we actually need to consume daily because it's not something that our body stores. So it's usually in your animal products. your highest source of zinc is actually oysters. So if you are a big fan of oysters, that's a good way to go to get some more zinc. Another great component about dairy, which I don't think we think about often, usually we think about calcium in our bones, but the other big one would be protein. So just to give you an idea about that, 1 cup of milk is going to contain 8 grams of protein. 1 ounce of cheese has 7 grams of protein in comparison to 1 ounce of meat that also has 7 grams of protein. So specifically talking about cow's milk and breaking down some macronutrients a little bit further beyond your vitamins and minerals and protein, I wanted to highlight the fat component because fat in cow's milk always tends to be a hot topic. So when we think about cow's milk, skim, 1%, 2%, or whole, that percentage is pertaining, of course, to that fat content. And the new research that is out there is specifically about whole milk, meaning whole being 3 to 4% of fat by weight in terms of the milk itself. And within that 3 to 4% of fat, the fat that is in your milk, it's actually the most complex fat that is naturally occurring in any type of food. There's over 400 fatty acid varieties just in that whole milk itself, which I think is pretty cool. And if you break that down, 2/3 of the fat that is in whole milk is saturated, and 1/3 of it is unsaturated. And iconically, when we think about health and nutrition and fats, your saturated fats are what we label as our quote-unquote bad fats. Those are the types of fats that we historically always linked to cardiovascular disease. So saturated fat being any type of fat that is solid at room temperature. If it's solid at room temperature, that means that it's generally going to solidify in our arteries and could potentially cause heart disease. Where your unsaturated fat, those are those fats that are liquid at room temperature. So your oils, your nuts, your nut butters, things of those natures. That is what has been shown to be more helpful to heart health. But recently, like I said, research is kind of looking at your whole milk dairy products more to see if saturated fat in those types of foods is really a culprit to cardiovascular disease. And the reason that they're looking into that so much is because milk has so many other benefits, as I just mentioned, a really good protein source, all the vitamins, minerals, things of that nature. And what a lot of new studies are finding is that the saturated fat in cow's milk is not created equal to all other types of saturated fat. Because of how complex it is in that nutrition profile, studies are showing now that the saturated fat in dairy products specifically are not necessarily linked to raising cholesterol and increasing your risk for cardiovascular disease compared to saturated fats that you might find in your processed foods, your baked goods, things of that nature. So what they're finding, like I said, is that not all fats are created equal, and something like a whole milk itself or a whole milk yogurt or cheese in particular as well, those things can actually potentially be beneficial for our overall health. So if you're a fan of those types of things, I think that that would be something to think about and incorporate a little bit more of. Moving on from fat, something else that is a component of milk is that it is also a carbohydrate. So when we talk about carbohydrates are foods that naturally contain sugar, right? So oftentimes when we think carbs, we think potatoes, starches, breads, pastas. But all fruits are also carbohydrates, and so would your milk products. That being milk, yogurt, and ice cream. Cheese does not contain carbohydrates. With how cheese is broken down, it filters out a lot of that carbs. But if you hear somebody say, well, milk is really high in sugar, that sugar is naturally occurring. It's not added sugar in cow's milk per se. And you get about 12 grams of carbohydrate per 1 cup. So to kind of move along from the cow's milk with that, we'll kind of talk more about carbohydrates in a second. You know that there's a lot of different milk alternatives out there. I feel like every time you turn around, there's something new. Of course, it started with your almond milks, and that went into cashew milk, coconut milk, rice. There's now oat milk. There is also now pea milk, as well as banana milk. And there can be potential benefits of going this direction. It depends on what you're looking for, okay? But each of them kind of have a little bit of a catch to them. Most of these milks that you see listed up here, your nut milks, your rice milks, your oat milks, all of those milks right there are not going to provide you with any type of protein, okay? So we talked about a really important part of milk being that it does provide you with protein. These types of milks are not going to do that. So if you know somebody who specifically is using almond milk in a smoothie, then my next question to them is, well, how are you getting your protein in that smoothie? Because almond milk does not contain protein. Despite almonds being a protein, whenever they are broken down to form milk, they lose that protein component. So those types of milks are not going to have protein. They are trying to start fortifying some of them, but they haven't come too far of a way with that. Another one there at the bottom, your banana milk, is also one that's not going to contain protein. Banana milk is just as it sounds. It is milk that is made from banana. It kind of tastes like watery bananas, if I'm being honest. But it is out there. And then in comparison to all of those, your pea milk, which this Ripple brand that I have a picture of, that's an example of pea milk. Peas are a great plant-based source of protein. So for example, a lot of the plant-based burgers that are out there now are usually either made from soy protein or from pea protein. So there is this pea protein milk. You'll see vegan protein powders out there also made out of pea protein. But the catch to something like the pea milk or the oat milk is those things are not going to be gluten-free if somebody is going this direction because they need to be gluten-free. All of these options are, of course, lactose-free. And generally, that's the only time that I usually recommend somebody go the direction of a milk alternative is if they have an actual problem digesting milk and they need to do something lactose-free. But at the same time, they do have cow's milk that is lactose-free as well, that when they filter that cow's milk, they break down that lactase enzyme and take that out. So you can certainly buy lactose-free cow's milk as well. The only other time I usually suggest using one of these milks would be, from a culinary standpoint, if you want a different flavor in something. Of course, the banana milk is going to give something a little bit of a different taste. The oat milk, if you've never had it before, is fairly heavy and creamy and going to give you that, oatmeal type feel to it. Most of these milks as well, we talked about regular cow's milk having that 12 grams of protein. 12 grams of carbohydrate. Most of these milks are not going to be high in carbohydrates. So if you yourself are diabetic or you know somebody who is diabetic and you are trying to watch carbohydrates, most of these could be a good option because they are going to be a lot lower in carbs than cow's milk. So going back to that smoothie example, if you're making a smoothie with yogurt and a lot of fruits, you already have a lot of carbs in there. So to thin it out, rather than using regular milk, which is just going to add more carbs, you could add one of these for less carbs. So there's definitely pros to them. I'm not going to say there's cons to them because I don't think that, I should label food that way. But at the end of the day, I do feel like regular cow's milk does have a really great benefit in terms of, like I said, the vitamins, the minerals, the protein, and the fat content. So to each their own, but I do think that regular cow's milk has a really great benefit and can really help us with that 3 servings of dairy recommendation we should be getting. To switch gears from milk, going on to cheeses. Like I said, I'm at the Camp Hill store and we have a really great large cheese shop right there with someone manning it all day long. So we have a variety of cheeses. that you can sort through, you can sample, ask questions about. This picture that I have here features some of our really great sellers. There's a raspberry cheese, there's a Merlot, there's an espresso. The next picture I'll show you here. This is a cheese that is laced with truffles. I'm not even going to attempt to say the name of it because I can't. And I don't know. I'm one of those people. I watch Food Network all the time, and you hear some chefs say, "Oh no, don't use the truffles," or "Yes, use the truffles." So I don't know how you guys feel about cheese laced with truffles, but it is a really good seller. Folks really tend to like it at the store. Like I said, going back to that last picture, their Merlot cheese is also a really big seller that folks tend to really gravitate towards as well. So lots of fun options with those types of cheeses. And then, as I mentioned, we carry a lot of local items as well. So if you are familiar with Caputo Brothers in York, they are a local creamery that we partner with, and we feature a lot of their products. So at the store, especially at Camp Hill in particular, we make fresh mozzarella every day with the Caputo Brothers Creamery products. So we make the fresh mozzarella. We have fresh ricotta as well. We sell their cannoli cream as well as pre-made cannolis also. So a lot of great varieties with that. And then two that I wanted to highlight specifically, they're going to be in the back of this picture here. Giant has paired with not only the Caputo Brothers Creamery, but also with Trogs to make two different beer cheeses that we carry. So the first one back in this corner is the Troganator cheese. The Troganator cheese, whenever the milk boils down and separates into the curds in the whey, they wash the curds with Troganator beer. And so that's how that flavor is infused into those curds to make that particular cheese. I'm a big fan of that cheese. I'll also say I'm not a big drinker, so I find the flavor to be really strong, but not too overpoweringly strong for me. I've cooked with it before at the farm show this past January. I made a macaroni and cheese on the culinary stage using the Troganator cheese, and I think that it just gave it a nice little hint of flavor that you wouldn't find in, like, you know, your typical cheddar or whatnot that you would use for macaroni and cheese. It melts very well. So that's one that we have. Down here in the corner, you'll see that we also have started making different dips with that Troganator cheese. And then up here in the other corner, we now have, similar to the Troganators, we have a perpetual cheese. So the perpetual cheese is made a little bit differently. The hops of the perpetual beer, the hops, are added to that milk in the cooking process. And so whenever it is broken down into the curds in the whey, the hops are already infused into those curds. So I find the flavor to be much stronger in that one in particular. They describe it as a sweet, creamy IPA cheese with hints of citrus. And I will say that I can really taste that citrus. Particularly, I feel like it has like a very bitter end note to it. Like orange rind is really what I pick up on when I eat that. Both of those cheeses they recommend having at room temperature for better flavor, which I will say that I think the Perpetual does taste a little bit better at room temperature. But so that's a newer one out there, and they did give hints that we are going to keep the Troganator, but the Perpetual won't be around for very long because they have plans this Christmas to make a Mad Elf cheese. So if you are a fan of their Mad Elf variety, we're going to start likely having that cheese out there too. So, okay. So on to our last piece here, our demo. We're going to be talking about the Dalgona coffee, or Dalgona, however you want to pronounce it. And essentially what it is it's whipped coffee. And I have here the basic recipe. And I'm going to try to move my screen back here and see if I can show you guys how to make this. So let me, how do I unshare my screen? Let's see.
I believe if you go back to the share screen part and just
Okay.
click again.
Stop share. Maybe.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. So in this bowl, this is tricky, but okay. You can see in this bowl here, I have the start of our whipped coffee. I have 2 tablespoons of instant coffee granules and then 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. To that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water. And then I'm going to go ahead and whip this. And I am no Chef Gype, so I'm not going to be using a whisk. I'm going to be using a blender, right? So it's going to be loud here for a second. You might want to turn it down, but you'll see that it's going to start getting frothy, and then it's going to get to a really nice whipped consistency.
While she's whipping that, I did add into the chat, if anyone has any questions, feel free to start putting them in there. That way when we get back with her, we can have our questions ready.
Sorry about that. So, all right. So you can see there, it definitely froths up and got to a nice whipped consistency. And you can stop right there. And then the concept would be that you would fill a glass full of nice ice cold milk, and then you would top the milk with this whipped coffee. But I'm going to show you some other ideas here. Real quick. With that. So like I said, that's the basic recipe that I just whipped up. But there's some other things that you can do with it. So instead of always doing just regular granulated sugar, you could use a different sweetener. You could use maple syrup or honey in place of the sugar to infuse that type of flavor in there instead. You could add some additions to it. So some sort of nut butter or cocoa. Which is what I'm going to do right now. I've melted a little bit of peanut butter that I'm going to fold into the whip a little bit. If you had peanut butter powder, that would also work really well. But so I'm going to have that nice peanut butter flavor in with the coffee for this one. You can think about different spices or extracts or drizzles to put in there. So vanilla, cinnamon, I think would work really well. If you have some sort of cherry syrup, make like a black forest concoction, those types of things I think would work nicely. And then also to think about your base and the temperature. So for example, we wouldn't always have to use regular milk. We could use something like chocolate milk or the banana milk. Rather than it being cold, it could be hot. I'm not promoting you to drink, but I think you could put Kahlua in your milk, right? There's different avenues that you could go with this. And then at the bottom here, you do have the idea for a kid-friendly version of this, just some whipped milk itself. This is my daughter Verity here, and she's enjoying some strawberry whipped milk. So the recipe for that being 2 tablespoons of some sort of syrup. I use strawberry syrup with a 1/4 cup of whipping cream, and just whip that up and put that on top of milk. But let me unshare this here. So just to kind of finish off what I started here, I have the melted peanut butter in that, and the combination I'm gonna do here is some of that banana milk. All right, so putting the banana milk in your glass about halfway, and then we're gonna top it off with our peanut butter whipped coffee. So a little bit of peanut butter and banana action here. Let's get all of that in there. And then I decided I was going to top mine with a little bit of chocolate syrup. Aha. So that's what you got there. Like I said, the banana milk, your whipped peanut butter, coffee, and some chocolate syrup on top. All right. Anybody have any questions for me?
That was awesome. Thank you. And I know this is definitely a different trend, so it's nice to hear how to switch it up. There was a question as to a few questions. What will espresso powder work as well? You were using instant coffee, correct?
I was using instant coffee. I am not sure. I have not seen any recipes using espresso powder. I think that with how the instant coffee is already ready to go, I think that that's what helps with the whipping process and infusing the flavor as it is. So I'm not too sure about that one.
Hey,
Well,
Shannon,
go ahead.
how long does that last? I mean, if you make it now, how long does it last without falling apart, falling down, collapsing?
Sorry, I feel licking my fingers. The strawberry whipped one that I made for my daughter the other day lasted like hours.
Okay.
This one in particular, without the heavy whipping cream in, I think it lasted me about like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
Another question came in, is there any benefits to whipping coffee?
People have asked me that. No. It's just something fun and different. It doesn't change the nutrition profile to it. Yes, you're adding sugar to it, but if you think about what you might typically get at Starbucks, you're likely getting a ton more sugar in whatever type of fancy drink you're getting there. But from the coffee itself, you're not really changing up the nutrition profile, no. Just something different to do, and especially if you're putting it over milk, it can encourage you to get in more servings of dairy per day in a fun way.
Awesome. Another question that came in is, why is dairy and cheese cut out of many diets when you're trying to lose weight?
So that's a really good question, and it's typically because of that fat content that we talked about, because it is adding in extra calories, because it's directly calories from fat in particular. So even when I get customers who come to me for weight loss, I generally don't promote taking out your dairy products for weight loss, because they are providing you with so many other benefits. I usually suggest people take a look at other things that they're eating. So a lot of your refined sugars and carbohydrates and things of that nature before we give up something like a good dairy source that's also giving you protein and calcium. Now, if you are somebody who's drinking like a gallon of milk a day, then there of course is such thing as, too much is a good thing. So we wouldn't want to go that direction, because then we are getting an excessive amount of calories from one particular food.
Can you talk about the different fat contents in the milk, as far as the skim milk 2% and the whole milk 1%? Are there various nutrient contents with the fat being different?
So the biggest difference is going to be that calorie count. It's going to have the same amount of protein in skim milk as you have in whole milk. You're going to have the same amount of vitamin D in skim milk as you have in whole milk. So even though whole milk is generally labeled, or it used to be labeled like vitamin D milk, skim milk 1%, 2% also contain the same amount of all of those nutrients. The only difference among the panel of milks is going to be that fat content, and therefore a calorie difference.
Great, thank you. And then another question, do you offer nutritional advice to customers at your store? What a perfect opportunity to bring up. You're doing online, is it online classes, sessions, learning opportunities? Why don't you talk to us about that quick? And I can pull up Facebook here in the meantime also to show that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So prior to COVID, of course, we were doing in-person consults with folks. You know, people could come in, sit down and talk to me to get advice. I could take them around the store. I used to do a lot of group store tours, same situation, looking at different products, giving different meal ideas, keeping in mind things like diabetes, high blood pressure, whatnot, and then, of course, classes at the cooking school. Now we're doing a lot of virtual classes. So if you go to Giant's website, it'll take you to another site that lists out all of the classes that we're doing. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, we do mini chef mornings. So kid focused, where, for example, last Friday I made butterfly snacks where kids get to decorate a clothespin and put it around a baggie with fruit and crackers and make a butterfly. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're doing adult classes. So Tuesday is very wellness focused. So for example, Mediterranean diet is coming up next Tuesday. Whereas Thursday, we highlight a produce item. So last Thursday, we did rhubarb. So lots of different varieties out there with our classes online right now.
Awesome, thank you. Does anybody else have questions for Shanna while we have her here? Okay. I'm not seeing anyone scrambling for their unmute button. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Is there any way I can get that PowerPoint to maybe send out?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll email
That would be
it to
awesome.
you.
I know you added so much to it, but it can at least, start as a foundation. Anybody join those classes? Is that too? Maybe you could send me that I could include in with that. That would be.
Yep. All of them are open to the public.
Okay. And one more question that popped in. Do you sell the mozzarella that's made in store by the pound? I mean, what's that package? Is that a 1 pound or an 8 ounce package?
I think that's an 8 ounce. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it
and you're saying the store makes that with their curds? They're not making it each day and shipping it to you? Or is it?
No, like our cheese shop lead is literally in there making mozzarella
Awesome.
every morning. Yeah.
Very cool. Because I know that it doesn't last too long. And that was that from Caputo Brothers. They always stress that you need it fresh. So that's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here. And I know we couldn't actually be there in physical presence, but it was great to still get your educational wisdom here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. If anybody else has any other questions, again, I'll follow up with this PowerPoint and these links here. And then of course, she can be contacted via email with any questions as well. Make sure to have that contact information. Thank you very much. And you do have the mozzarella curd. Do they sell the curd there also? Or is it just the, if you come in a chef coat and say, we know Sheena, can we get mozzarella curd?
I mean, if you drop my name, maybe. No, I don't know. I don't think that we do, but maybe. Okay. I'll find out. I can let you know.
But Caputo Brothers is local, and I know you can buy mozzarella curd specifically from Caputo Brothers. I've done that before. Okay, awesome. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
All right, we're going to move on. We have Maria Hewlett here joining us. Thank you again, Maria. There is, speaking of dairy, a Choose Your Dairy program going on, and definitely looking to organize an event that she had approached me about, and I wanted her to talk with the chapter here and talk about what she's thinking specifically. So Maria, thank you for joining us. See if you are unmuted.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you everyone for having me. I'm so excited again to be with you all. kind of like a reunion. Since we've seen each other in January, and most of you. So as you know, I'm mostly involved with the Culinary Connection at the Farm Show. I've been part of its production for the past 13 years. And last year, I was approached by the Center for Dairy Excellence to help with the coordination and the production of a new event. It's a breakfast on a farm, a breakfast on a dairy farm. It was the first annual event in Pennsylvania of its kind. And we actually had more than 1,000 people participate, so it was very well attended. And the reason I wanted to talk to you today is because I was hoping that we can get some local talent at the event. We can invite some of the students and some of the chefs to take part in it. Hopefully it will take place in late August. The date is, at this point, is scheduled for August 29th. And what the center decided to do is to host it at a different farm, different region of Pennsylvania. So last year it was at the Kirtland Farms in Elverston, PA. What they are planning for 2020 is to have it at Way Har Farm in Burnville, PA. I haven't visited the farm yet. But we're in conversation with the owners, and they're very excited to have the event at their location. So the concept behind the event is to invite families, adults and children to experience a breakfast at a dairy farm, to enjoy interactive activities such as cheese making and butter making. We also had the famous Pennsylvania Farm Show milkshakes at the event last year. So the event is, again, organized by the Choose PA Dairy campaign. And we have some great partners, the Pennsylvania Dairymen's Association, the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, the PA Preferred Program, the American Dairy Association Northeast is involved, UPenn's veterinarian program was involved. We had some students from Del Val. So there were a lot of different participants and partners as part of last year's event, and we expect for this to take place again and to happen again in 2020. So what I envisioned, in a conversation with Chef Autumn, we brainstormed different ideas, was to possibly have some chefs from the chapter and some students help with the breakfast part of the event. Now, we had to switch the time. Last year it was from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. So for 2020, they would like to have the event start at 10 a.m. and go to 2 p.m. So I'm not sure if we want to focus on just breakfast items or create more of a brunch. But again, we are open for suggestions. And again, just really wanted to get your sense of, if you're interested in being involved in such event. We will obviously offer reimbursement for your involvement, for the ingredients, and we are open to your ideas.
Okay, and Maria, you said this is in Burnville, PA. So I did do a quick map quest. We're talking about 45 minutes from Hack, at least from Harrisburg. So I think it's north of Lebanon, out towards Reading, up 78, I think, just to give you an idea. Now, I do want to approach the idea of August 29th, because that definitely seems to be, I know that's everyone's first thing is, whoa, is this going to happen? Because it seems like August has a whole lot going on. But I mean, they feel confident moving forward at this point with August 29th as the plan?
They do. Again, I had 2 or 3 conversations with the Center for Dairy Excellence and some of the other organizations being involved, and they're going full speed ahead. So I mean, obviously we are monitoring how things are developing, but I think everybody's just keeping an optimistic view that things will, by that point, will get back to normal. We have another call in June, so I can certainly provide an update at that point if there are any changes. to the date. But at this point, they're going ahead with the August 29th date.
Okay. And so you're looking for, you had mentioned involvement from the chapter and from the chefs. You mentioned the breakfast, so I see that as a potential, involvement there. Was there any other involvements you were talking about? I'm going to share how I got involved last year. I had taken my kids. There's my youngest daughter. We did how to make cheese. So we had fresh mozzarella, having the kids be able to stretch the cheese out, and then we had, I believe Stephanie behind me, making some fresh feta cheese, or at least walking through that process. And then my other daughter with a student was having everyone shake heavy cream until it turned to butter. And they kept going and going and going. It took everyone quite a few minutes, but they got there. So this is how I was involved last year and how it approached, coming this year. So is there anything, I know definitely this is a conversation, we'll have as a chapter, but is there any other involvement you were looking for other than the potential to maybe partner with a breakfast or a brunch? Did we lose Maria? Maybe we lost Maria. I think we lost Maria. So, sorry. There you go. Okay. Did you hear my question?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Was there anything else you were looking for us other than, I know you're approaching us about potentially getting, helping with this breakfast. Was there any other involvement you were looking for at this point? That way we can discuss this further and get back to you.
Well, I think we had some, I know you and Steph from the Cheese Guild had some, demonstrations around cheese making and butter making. So that will be something else that I think we can definitely use some help with. And again, this will be the second, event of its kind. So really, any ideas are open for discussion. We were really excited that we had so many people last year. Everybody loved it. Everybody had a great time. We had not only, a ton of adults and children, but we had great media attention. We had legislators. 75% of the people came from the state of Pennsylvania. So really the idea is to support the local dairy industry, the local farmers, to increase, awareness about the benefits of cow milk, consuming cow milk. And I think people really got a lot of it. It was really interactive. It was a lot of fun. There was a baby calf that was born, which was a highlight. And people got to see that. So the farm had robotic milking, so they got to feature that. So again, from your perspective, really, we are excited to grow it, and hopefully, again, it will happen. So, but I wanted to just introduce it to you and hopefully get some interest and some ideas, and we can have another conversation.
A few follow-up questions, if I could, Maria. How many people are you thinking? That's always a big one. Are we talking 50? Are we talking 5 million?
Yeah, so last year we had 1,100 people.
Okay.
And I think they're, again, planning for 1,000 people. So if that's, that was what we planned for last year, and that's what we got. So hopefully it will be the case again.
Okay. And is there any sort of, again, just kind of focusing on the breakfast, I saw a question come in. Is there any type of kitchen or facilities or cooking equipment or anything there that we would have access to if we wanted to be a part here?
So I will have to check with the farm in regards to the Kirtland farm that hosted the event last year. They did not have access to a kitchen. So I would rather go with a no. We might have access to a small space that we can use, for that purpose. But I think, so last year the breakfast was catered. So everything was just brought in by the caterer on site. We had tables, chairs, electric, but that's about it.
So
So
minimally, I would think just sanitary water, running water, I think would be the minimum, and electric possibly.
Yes, I
I
think
think would just be our
we'll have
minimum.
access to that. Yep.
But it sounded like Chef Geifer, are you trying to pipe in there?
I'm trying to do that. Hey, Maria,
Oh.
Hi, Chef.
so you're looking for people to actually cook breakfast, or the caterer still going to do breakfast?
No, well, I'm actually thinking that we would like to have chefs to do the breakfast part and instead of a caterer.
Let's do the breakfast, and she's willing to pay. So a
Yep.
fundraiser for us.
You provide all the food, you provide all the stuff, and you're just looking for chefs to prepare the food.
Right, or you can bring the food with you, and we can reimburse you.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at this as more so she is not hiring us, but hiring us, asking us to take care of the breakfast.
Okay.
I think on our end, again, when we discuss this, I think that would be something with our resources. It would be better for us to source out products, and again, I think we can definitely handle that within in-house. But that's what I interpreted this to be, as you have funds to pay for
Right.
products, as well as a small contribution, hopefully, to the chapter for the efforts. But definitely looking more as an event that we can participate in, as well as maybe making some funds at the same time.
Let me ask you another question. Do the people pay to get in, or it's free? It's free.
Okay, so yes, good question. So last year it was free.
Okay.
This year they did a survey. They conducted a survey last year to see if people would be willing to pay to attend the event, and most people indicated that they're willing to pay a small fee. So again, we're not sure what that will look like yet.
Okay.
But if there is a fee, it will be minimal.
Okay. And that money could go somewhere. It could go to some scholarships.
Right. It will be for scholarships. Yes.
Okay, great. So I think this is a great intro. I thank you, Maria, and any follow-up questions that we have, I'll collect and definitely pass those along. And then I think as a chapter, this is something that we can discuss under new business then towards the end to get our thoughts. I know I've kind of seen from a few that maybe there are different student groups that want to lead this up. Also, I've seen a couple interests, but again, Maria, I'll collect all of our thoughts and I'll get back to you. I really appreciate you piping in here, and it's great to see you visually.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on with our agenda then, because it is definitely quite healthy. Again, any questions that you have in regards to, for Maria or for Shanna specifically, I am happy to pass those on. Just to bring up one more time here, that's not going to work out. It's going to bring up our agenda, but I think we can all follow along. Hopefully, if you pulled up the agenda, I'm just going to continue on with our education committee. And Anna, I know you have an update for us as to our June education, but also first and foremost, I want to thank you again for our educational resource page on our website that is growing extensively. And at this point, we're a little backlogged with the amount of great videos we've received to get on there. I know Chef Long, you've done a lot of videos we're trying to get up on there. Chef Peffley, I think I have just about all of yours, definitely the new Spritz cookie as well. I know Chef Reese is making them, so we are getting a lot of videos up there. Thank you so much, Anna, for your efforts with that. And if you could share any updates you have with education specifically.
Yes, we will not be going to Hershey Park in June, it doesn't look like. Chef Long has graciously agreed to do a demonstration on ice carving next via Zoom.
Thank you.
You have to upload that are on the XF.
Okay, and I know Chef had said that he was thinking of a presentation, or if that's something the two of you could connect with to see, if there's anything we can provide. Let me know if there's anything else I can help. But at this point, I'm hoping the two of you are good to connect and get set up for June. Chef?
Well, I know that we were talking about doing an ICE logo class when we were supposed to have it at HAC in April. So I'm probably going to focus on that. So it's probably not going to be so much of a three-dimensional carving, but how there's some different ideas and presentations of ICE logos and how impactful they can be, and just how easy they can be. So.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you. Any other updates, Anna, you have?
No.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and move on for the competitions committee. Susan, how about we start with you? There is, again, the secret got leaked out today, but the intentions were everybody join in. Let's show you something exciting, a sneak peek so that everyone got to hear about it. First and foremost, tonight, about this new competition that we have just kicking off. I'm going to share my screen, Susan, if you'd like to share here and about give an overview. And I know you mentioned some prizes specifically you have as well.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we decided to do a cookie competition, but instead of just doing your average general chocolate chip cookie, we're going to try for something healthy. I have high cholesterol and I love cookies. So let's try and make a cookie that would be good for my cholesterol level, to lower it, and is nutritious. And obviously you want a recipe and explain what the ingredients would do and what nutritional value they have within the cookie. So it's going to take a little bit maybe of nutritional research as to what ingredients would bring cholesterol down and what is good. And then make at least 6 cookies so we can see consistency, and then also cut them in half so we can see the inside of that. And again, like last time, the pictures and the recipes to you, right, Chef Autumn, and then you'll post them on the Facebook page?
They have 2 options. They can directly message them to the page or go to post them on the page and we approve it, or at the bottom they can just email them directly to the ACF email, and then I will post them on there. Yes.
Okay. And of course, last time with the pie competition, there were so many great entries. Instead of just being a first prize, that ended up being 4 because it was so good. So we'll see what happens. But and if you want to just come to get off that screen, and I can show you quickly what the prizes are. Are we back? Okay.
Yes.
So can you see me?
We can, yes.
Okay, so we've got, again, a selection of fine Swiss couvertures, all different Grand Cru or single origin tablets, and that we go. And I also have some tools. So a very nice spatula, and this is great for tempering couverture. And also a pen from Switzerland. These are from Caran d'Ache, they're actually very nice pens. So that will be what's sent out. And then if there are more great entries, it's just going to be more chocolate and more goodies. So open for students, and thank you for all the participants last time, and everybody did a really nice job.
Thank you, Chef. And I did see a picture of what you sent Rashida for winning the pie competition, and it definitely looked great. Again, I know those chocolates, students were wondering, how do I get those chocolates? You said you can't. They're especially, gift package, and so that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that. And like I said, we had 12 with the pies. So hopefully with these cookies that can encourage students. Again, Chef Peffley just dropped a spritz cookie video. So there's a lot of resources out there, but hopefully this is a big enough category yet narrows it down. Any suggestions you have, like if you're trying to lower your cholesterol, so what do you do? Other than not eat the items.
All these demos. Flaxseed, oatmeal, nuts, of course exercise, but olive oil, oils, not butters. I mean, I try every time I go to the doctors, it's up.
So if the recipe is a cookie and a 30-minute walk around the block, does that count?
It might, and I might have to test the recipe too.
Right. All right, awesome. Is there any questions anyone has? I know we do have some students on, so certainly if there's any questions students have, I think when we promote this, we'll ask for questions too. I'd like to send this as an email to all the instructors so they can send them directly to their students as well here. I am not seeing any questions immediately in the chat. Susan, anything else you had for the competitions committee update?
No, not really. I mean, obviously we heard that the National Convention has been cancelled. So I'm not quite sure what's going to go on with choosing like the new competition teams and things like that, moving forward. But I do need to talk to some, like staff at the Canberra, the ACF president, and just see what their plans, were to look for that next team and what we're going to do in terms of the competitions. But not right now, nothing concrete.
Okay, thank you. And that does lead right into with Faith. Faith Brenneman again was selected in advance to the Student of the Year competition for the ACF at the National Convention. Faith, are you able to, I'm going to say, share your exciting news? Because immediately, and I'll be honest, I sent her a text message. It was kind of, I don't want to relate it to breaking up with someone, but this was news, and I sent her a text message so we could digest. But fortunately, in the amount of time, she had gotten an email, and that's where, Faith, I want you to share, because again, I think let's look at how great of an opportunity this is. Sorry, I keep trying to unmute you as you're undoing it. Okay, you're good.
Yep, I'm good. So yeah, it was really much a heartbreak to receive that email that competitions have been canceled, as well as the convention. But with that, I received an invite from the committee that they would like for me to come and compete for Student of the Year in 2021 in Orlando. So looks like we're just moving back a little bit, but I will be competing for Student of the Year in 2021.
Which is awesome, and congratulations to you. So no waiting until April 1st to find out it's on in July, and now you already know that you've advanced. A big question I would have, I don't know if you're able to answer this, is your mystery basket staying the same? Are you having a year to plan?
I don't know. And through the platform that all of us competitors use to communicate with our judges, we've been asking, like, do we have the same basket? What should we expect? And they're not really sure either at this time. I mean, of course, I would love to have this basket, but at the same time, I would love a new challenge. So everything's just kind of up in the air right now.
Okay, awesome. So I appreciate that. Thank you. That's at least, like I said, a positive spin. So July, I think, would have been a hardship that you would have definitely stood up for. But I think giving you a full year now to even mentally prepare in the organization, I know we were definitely pushing, and you were going fast in the beginning and like, oh, give me a second here. So I'm glad that you have this extra time and you don't have to wait to know it. Instead, you can just keep honing your skills, and please reach out to any of us that can help along the way. I know you've received a couple of funding items that are still there. So if there's certain equipment or things like that that you can think of, definitely be in touch as well. And to circle back, we had approved funding the hotel as well as the airfare. At this point, are you able to cancel the hotel reservation?
Absolutely, it's already taken care of.
Okay, and then the airfare has not been purchased either. So at this point, all funds have remained in our account. Okay, well, again, I look at the exciting part of that, Faith. I think the whole extra year is awesome. There's more competition, but at the same time, I think you're up for the challenge, definitely. And back to Orlando, we'll have to find an orange this time. We drove around for Knowledge Bowl looking for an orange. We could not find a single orange in Orlando. Anyway. So congratulations again. That's exciting. I'm glad you're able to move forward then. Thank you. And then I'm going to move on to Renee for social media. All right. We checked on volume earlier. Great. Renee.
Yes, I'm here. The only thing I really have to say is content. If it's pictures, one of the things I'm struggling with is there are a limited amount of pictures that were already on our existing Facebook page that are older. We don't really have any current pictures. Of course, being quarantined, that makes it a little bit more challenging. But like, I just took a quick snapshot of our Zoom meeting screen just so that I could try to have new content. I do try to share things from the Restaurant Lodging Association. When I see members post, I try to share like their posts. On Instagram, it's very picture driven. And so if anybody has anything that they're doing at work, or a dish you're making, or a garden that you're working on, what you're doing to keep yourselves busy during quarantine, and it's food related or it's ACF related, or if there's things that you want to see on the page or things you want me to share, I'll take all of that feedback. The more feedback I have, the more I can tailor the page to what you want to see, because it is our page. And the other thing too is I'm trying to attract other local chefs to join us and to create some excitement and to hopefully to start participating. So the more that I can get you to send me content or send Chef Patty content, the better off we're going to be, because it makes my job a little easier just trying to come up with something new to share each day. So you'll see that I do try to change the pictures. There was a little bit of a weird I changed our cover page picture to Chef Peffley's students. They had done some desserts, and it reposted the post, and so Chef Patty caught it and went in and said this was from last fall. So I'm not sure why it did that, but it just shows you that I'm trying to pull things from what we have existing, but there really isn't a lot out there. So if you have anything that you can share from, even if it is from past meetings or past events, please send it in. Please share it with us so that I can, tweak it and get it out there.
Renee, I'm also going to direct you to our website. There is a press room, I believe it's called, where the photo galleries were. So there are some pictures that are on there that you can pull from. I really just started doing it several months ago. So anything from, and actually I think I pulled those pictures off of Facebook though. So, but there may be a few extra ones on there that you can pull off directly as well.
Great, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. And thank you again for all the hard work. I appreciate those that are sharing items. I think just from our last meeting of me talking for your mouth moving of how you like to share items, not just like them. And I've seen that. I mean, again, it's buzzing. And I think some people are mentioning it, and it's good information to get out there. So thank you, Renee. I know that's been a big effort, and I appreciate that. All right, moving on. Faith, for student outreach, is there anything for student outreach that you have on the horizon? I mean, I know you're working on this competition here as well. Any other ideas of how to engage our students, especially over the summer, while they're sitting back, kind of waiting for classes to resume? They're not sitting back. Forgive me. I did not say that. Rewind. Faith, is there anything you can think of or anything on the horizon other than this competition here to get students involved? All right, I think you're unmuted. Oh. Okay, I'm going to come back to you, Faith, because I feel like your audio is having some issues there. I know in the last meeting you had mentioned too, when I sent out that email to all the instructors, I will give your email specifically as you had offered specific mentorship, and again, the competition and anything else. I think it would be really great in our newsletter to, well, I'm starting a new business, but somewhere to have some way to highlight students, like a student of the month, or something in there to, again, bring the students interactive, keeping them engaged. Are there any students on the line specifically that would like to talk about, how you're doing, anything for the student outreach that we can discuss? Okay, seeing nothing in the chat and not hearing anything, we'll go ahead and move on. I know Bob Kroll was not able to join us tonight to get any updates on the apprentices. However, I know Chef Arnold is here, Chef Harris. Is anybody able to speak, or even Chef Peffley, anyone able to speak about the apprentices, how they are doing? I don't feel like we've heard too much. Wanted to check in on them.
I've been able to actually call them and just be able to connect with them, but other than that, nothing else to report.
We are going to be starting online classwork. We meet with them on Mondays, and we are doing the academic classwork until our school opens online. And that we just had a meeting on Monday, so we're moving forward with that. We're also in the middle of working with Chef Harrance and the Accreditation Commission about our site visit, because it was due. We were supposed to be reaccredited on May the 4th and 5th and 6th, and that didn't happen. So that's what we're working on next.
Okay. Thank you. Any other updates on apprenticeship or any apprentices joining us that would like to mention anything? Okay, I'm going to keep this train rolling. All right, Michael, certifications. Any new updates, anything you'd like to share regarding certifications, Michael?
There really isn't anything new to report with regard to certification. I think the pandemic is keeping it very quiet. I've not heard anything locally, and on a national level, there really hasn't been anything to report back.
If I could ask you a question, for example, Faith, now graduating, I have several students that are now graduating. I'd like to send those certification applications in for them. Is that something that there is still someone working to accept those applications? Should we hold off and that we don't want to get lost in the pile?
No. Send them. Get them out there. Get them
Okay.
down there for review. Anybody that's graduated from an accredited program has earned, at the post-secondary level, has earned certified culinarian, and they should absolutely submit.
Okay. All right. And I know this kind of goes with it, but membership renewals also. I know our school does that in May. So as far as the national office, everyone's working remotely, hopefully. And
Everybody is. They're working 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. There's nobody there on Friday, or nobody's working on Friday. I think there are some people that go into the office on occasion, but only with permission. But membership can be renewed online. I know I did mine in March. Right around the time that this all started, because I felt it was important. So for those that have it, that are sliding a little bit to the right, I think there's some grace periods there for the next couple of months. But if you have the opportunity and the funding to do it, we encourage everybody to renew their membership.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Jeff. Okay, moving on to accreditation. Brian, I believe you definitely summed up the accreditation on your end. Anything else updating wise on accreditation?
We actually have a meeting tomorrow morning, and we'll get more information there. We're moving toward working with leads about what's the next step forward, because there are 32 programs that we need to catch up on, and there's, I think, Michael, 40 coming on board.
Yep.
In the fall. So we want to try to make sure that we're ready and prepared to onboard all of these schools and give them their due time of accreditation.
Wow. Okay. Great.
And then if I could add a few things what the other things that we've done is we've extended everybody's accreditation, so nobody will expire. The modified version that we're going to be doing will be a little bit like this on Zoom and a little bit of on-site. We're hoping to minimize the on-site contact down to 1 day or a day and a half at the most for post-secondary. And hopefully the pilot for secondary will be with Brian up in Lebanon, so that we could work the kinks out of that once everybody's ready to go. On another note, I have been putting out these the food for thoughts that have been posted on the website. The next thing I want to do is kind of graduate us a little bit more onto a national level and direct within the next food for thought that it was a combination of two that are already posted. I want to direct people to our educational site. Talked a little bit with Brian on that, and he feels that we're ready. We've got some good quality up there. So with permission from the chapter, I'll include that in the next note, the next food for thought that's going to go out to all the accredited programs. And I'm sending that tomorrow morning, if not this evening, if everybody's good with it.
Is there any discussion on us including our website? I don't feel we necessarily need a vote on that, because I think we should be proud of our website. And I think that's something that is open for everyone to view and to share. And I think that's something that would be great to put out there. Thank you.
You'll be able to track your activity. You probably should be able to get a report on how that is trending with our website. We used to be able to do that. I'm not exactly sure, I don't remember how it was done, but you can see the activity of, and I know since you've been working on that with your team, it has gone up dramatically.
It has. Apparently it's very, very attractive to people hacking as well. I have been one with GoDaddy and reopening it. Who's laughing? Who's laughing?
That would be me.
Each time. It's just, it's quite ridiculous, but I'm glad. And that's what it's there for. But I do also want to put that precedence out there. When I make a video, and it's a lecture video, I'm putting it there and I'm making it for my class. I'm not making it to be a TV star. I mean, it's just my voice anyways, you're not seeing me, but I know a lot of us, you know, I'm going to use Chef Reese as an example, right? You're having fun. You're doing your video. You know, you talk about your beard each time. You know, you're not putting together a video to be a national star. So where I think being able to share this nationally, that's a given anyways. But just so that everyone understands, these are videos we're putting together for our students here, not necessarily for the audience of the world, because there are times that, you know, we might have a little innuendo that might not be, I think it's all great material. I just want to make sure that I put that precedence out there that we are not always putting things together. I mean, I'm going to throw out Chef Peffley and Harris, your videos are amazing. But I'm going to give a lot of credit to your sons. Your sons are amazing. Forgive me. You stand there, and we all could stand there and do this, but your sons are making these videos into professional quality videos that make some of us feel like, oh, I don't know if I can quite live up to that. But that's what I'm saying. I think this site is more of a collective of what we've done for our local students, and we're happy to share with anyone. Does anyone have any other discussion or anything they'd like to add to that?
I got a question regarding the Facebook. I get this yesterday. I got something from the ACF, our Facebook, that I received a badge. Is that a scam, or what is that? Is that what is that? Something about a badge because it's being shared things. I mean, is that?
That's just a Facebook thing that says you're one of our top fans because you either
Okay,
like.
so it's not a. So I don't want to link in that link and.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. It just makes some silly thing on your Facebook page or your
okay,
that says you're one of our top fans and it tags you or whatever. So.
Okay, so
I
it's
mean,
not.
You can do it if you like, but it doesn't. It's something that Facebook does automatically.
Okay, I thought maybe it was you know.
John, they want you to send $49.95 a month.
That's what I thought. Someone's trying to hack that. I want some money out of it. They're not getting any. That's it.
Okay, so any other discussion, or are we okay then just saying yes to Michael and including that, and thank you for highlighting us, everyone. I'm seeing a lot of shaking heads and thumbs up. Okay.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. I'll send that out and hopefully it will go out at the end of this week, middle of this week. Thanks, everyone.
And I have updated it as of, I think, 5 o'clock today, but like I said, Anna and I have quite a backlog of, we want to get these videos on here. So I will make sure to get those out in the next few days. That way, before you put it out there, we have an up-to-date version of it. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead, and I would like to find Bob Roebuck and have him talk about a few different items if we could. Oh, I found you, Chef. You are unmuted. I was hoping you could touch base for us on the American Academy of Chefs, Ronald McDonald House, as well as the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, if you would, please, Chef.
Okay, there was nothing really new to report on the Academy. We have not received any updates via email. As far as the Ronald McDonald House, I have been in conversation with them. They understand our situations with restaurants being closed. They have been very, very fortunate to receive donations from the Hershey Medical Center, as well as private individuals have contributed food. They, again, understand our situation. But I am in touch with them, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to get back to donating food to the house. As far as the food bank goes, they have now gone to a 24-hour shift, 3 8-hour shifts a day. They're receiving food. It is being outsourced to a different location for packaging to the various recipients. All 27 counties that they represent are doing well. There are some spot shortages, and they're trying to correct that as much as humanly possible. But the grocery stores and different outlets that they receive from have really come through with food products for them. Produce right now is a little scarce. However, with the growing season upon us, they expect that to pick up. As far as proteins, the freezers are well filled with various proteins. But again, they've gone to a 24-hour operation, both at Corey Road and another location where they're packaging. That's about it.
They do have information on their website of how you can volunteer, correct?
Correct.
And that's the best route then, just going through that site?
Correct.
Thank you. All right, anything else to report, Chef, while I have you?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, then moving on to PA flavor. Chef Blythe, I know you're on here. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Is there any update you can share that's been shared so far as, it's still going to be planned, or is there any thoughts of what to do if we're still in our current situation?
I reached out to Heidi this afternoon, and I have not heard anything back. Again, it would maybe my personal phone number threw her off, but I did identify myself. Just acknowledge that I heard it was the August 22nd from 1 to 5 with the VIP being at 1 o'clock, and looking to look at some of Lebanon County alumni, if possible, as servers. I find it hard to believe we'd be putting 1,200 people in an event center like that. As close to where we are right now, but we'll see.
Okay, and again, I know that Chef Peffley had mentioned about some alumni, and because schools are not in session yet.
Yeah.
But please do keep in mind that Faith Brenneman is with student outreach, that she could definitely try and organize a group as well there too. So I think as we get closer, we can start looking at making sure that there's enough help all around.
Yeah, the former Cumberland Perry, I know at the Hilton Towers meeting in January, they were anxious to help at that point too. So it's, again, how we can connect with everybody.
Okay, and I know Chef Miller is actually on here with us too. So that would be great. Like I said, I know that the schools are not in session yet, but we are looking for, to make sure that we nail that down. I would say the next meeting maybe to talk a little further on that. Thank you. Chef Reese, any updates on your finance budget committee?
We haven't met yet. We're supposed to meet 2 months ago. We never done anything yet. So it's up in the air right now.
What are you doing?
We don't need any money yet. We haven't spent any. Yeah, me and Charlie will get together one of these days. Right, Charlie? Are you there? We'll get together one of these days.
Okay.
Why don't you submit for chapter unemployment, and we can get that $600 a week.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a real good idea. Hey, unmute
All right,
yourself.
I'm gonna move on to other old business, and one thing that I did want to bring up, not on the agenda, was the thank yous that were shared for the NASA Hunch competition. So thank you to Chef Geip and Chef Robox for forwarding that to me. I did post it on Facebook so everyone can see. There's 2 great YouTube videos. One, and they are both found in our newsletter as well, in our Mise en Place, which is on our website. But it does show a really nice video of an overview of the entire competition. Then I thank you specifically to all of the judges and the ACF, and it's a really nice video. So like I said, it is our Facebook page as well as our website then, so that everyone can view that. So I thought that was great and wanted to share there as well. Thank you again, chefs, for being a part. Is there any other old business that anyone would like to discuss? I think that was ample time for finding the mute button. Okay, all right, we'll move on. Okay, then we'll move on to new business. I am going to once again unmute Chef Roebuck. Chef, you are unmuted. You had brought up about the Cumberland Perry Area Vocational Technical School Awards Program. I wanted to give you the opportunity here to speak on that, if you would, please.
Okay, no problem. On April the 28th, I received an email from Justin Brune, if I'm saying that properly. They indicated in their email that fortunately for them, 95% of the students at Cumberland Perry are participating in Google Classroom. They also are taking donations for scholarships for the class of 2020. The deadline was this past Saturday, the 16th. However, when in conversation with Mr. Brune, I explained that our meeting was not until tonight. He said if the chapter sees fit, they would accept a donation again towards scholarships for the class of 2020. So if, Autumn, if you want to entertain a motion, if the chapter wants to move ahead with this at this particular time, I would be more than happy to respond to him tomorrow, but I'll put it back to you if anybody wants to make a motion as to how much we would want to do, again, for scholarships for Cumberland Perry for the graduating class of 2020.
Okay, is there any discussion that we can have on this?
How much money you think? How much money you think is a good idea, Bob?
John, it's been varied. Chef Miller might be able to give a little more information on this, but when I asked, is there an amount that they're looking for, the answer was no. And when I talked to Mr. Brune, he said it is varying. So I think whatever, if the chapter wants to move ahead with this, I think whatever would be received by the school would certainly be well appreciated, again, for the class of 2020.
One thing that we did before, in the old days, I used to give them some knives, tools for the trade for the culinary students. That was some of the present gifts that we used to give them. But are they looking for money, or are they looking for prizes?
They're looking for money. Yes.
Money.
So if I could chime in, I can give you guys a little bit of information about what we have as far as our seniors graduating this year.
Go ahead, Chef.
So we have 9 seniors graduating right now. At the moment, 5 of them are looking at going on to school. 4 of which are looking at going on to culinary school. 1 that's not. The other 3 the other 4 that are not looking at going on to school. However, sorry, I got the baby in the background. The other 4 that aren't looking at going on to school, however, are looking at still working in the industry, and all 4 of them are actually already currently working in the industry. So, I mean, for the 4 to 5 that are looking at going on for the post-secondary or for the for continued education, I believe that financial scholarship would be appropriate. But for the 3 that are looking at staying in the industry, I think knife kits would be a beautiful thing for them. Just to give you a little bit of information about what we have as far as our graduating class this year.
Okay, great. So is there any other discussion, or would anyone like to maybe make a motion? Any thoughts on this?
I think maybe it might be appropriate that we take a look at what past practices have been. Once again, we opened this door. We have a gazillion schools in our association, and you don't want to do one for one and not for the other. So that being said, I think we have to go to PRLA also, since Cumberland Perry is the group that does the golf outing. So in my mind, I think that's more of a the Cumberland Perry thing might be better served to go to PRLA and see if we can't do something with them. And I know Chef Miller is having his craft advisory committee meeting tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Remember, Chef Reese, you're cooking breakfast, and
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah.
6:45 tomorrow morning. We should receive it at our homes before we do a Zoom. So
I got to deliver.
Yeah. So I think Heidi's going to be on the meeting also. She's part of the committee. So I think if we Chef Roebuck, we ask her and talk about that at the same time. I think that's probably would be a better avenue to go.
Okay, that's fine.
Chef Miller, are you all right with that?
That sounds fantastic.
Okay. Chef, well, if you're bringing it up then, but maybe I can preliminarily send you the application, the form that maybe you can give the heads up to Heidi about even too. I know I got it from Chef Roebuck to begin with, so I know he has it as well.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion then on this? I think we're good to move on. Okay, I did miss over the blood bank. Chef Herons, did you want to update on the blood bank other than the giving blood?
Yes. For the year to date, we've had 3 donations. And that's pretty shameful when we've in the past have exceeded 20 to 22. So blood donating is very safe. I did it 2 weeks ago. And I encourage all of you to get out there and make sure that you're giving blood and keeping this life-saving resource available for those that are out there. Our blood bank number is 0775. If you have given and you want to get the credit for it, then give them a call and let them know, but I wouldn't bother them. Just get out there, roll up your sleeve, and give them the right number, and let's get our numbers back up. So we're at 3. Let's try to get that way up into double digits for the next meeting, if it's possible, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. And just to confirm, that was 0075, correct? 0075.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other new business that anyone would like to discuss?
On the blood bank thing, is it still okay to tell them we're from PA181? Is that correct?
You can, Guy, but 0775 is our club number.
Yeah, no one's going to remember that, just so you know.
I was going to put it in there, but now it sounds like you said 0775.
0775.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I will put it in our...
Write it on your hand, Guy.
And maybe we can throw it out on Facebook there too, Renee, so that way our number's there, and we'll just keep putting it in front of everyone to help. Okay. Any other new business anyone would like to bring up?
Yeah, I could bring up a little bit. The other day I was in a PRLA catering meeting. They had a board meeting, just for some people that signed up to be involved in this pandemic. And I mean, there's still so many things that the government doesn't really know what to do when they turn to green, and they have no idea what happens in green. They're still working out a plan. The Restaurant Association is trying to help them put together a plan. Mr. Longstreet is really involved with communicating with the governor's office, trying to help them put a plan together, because in their task force, they have nobody there that knows anything about the restaurant industry or the hotel industry. They're trying to help them, but as of the Tuesday, they have no idea what's going to happen in green. And I was reading an article in a paper today about the restaurants down in Philadelphia. They're really trying to open, but it doesn't look very good. Doesn't look good at all. We're talking about the meeting in August. The PA flavors. There's no way that's going to happen. If it's going to happen, if you can put 1/3 or 30% of the people in there. I mean, so you can, unless you open the whole PA Farm Show and put 500 people in there 6 feet apart, but it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good this year already. Even at the Hilton, we all, we had a party, for Christmas, we had a party already canceled for 500 people in Christmas. They already canceled. So it's going to be nothing's going to happen in this year. Anything, people looking at outdoor dining, the liquor commission, the restaurant association is trying to help some of the restaurants with the liquor board, trying to be able to sell alcohol and move their premises out to the sidewalks a lot easier, to be able to, if they're going to do 30% or every 6 feet apart, they need a lot of room. So they're trying to move them out. So it was a pretty good meeting. They put together a task force. They're going to try to even come up with some new ideas for our next PRLA board meeting. So it was pretty interesting, but like I said, it doesn't look good. According to Mr. Longstreet and the PRLA and the Restaurant Association, it's going to be a tough battle in the next 2-3 months. So very tough battle. So we just have to
couple things. Go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a rough one.
Yeah. A couple things to think about. Right about now, 70% of the industry is unemployed. That's 70% of the food and beverage industry. Those that are fully employed tend to be the people in retirement communities, some food sales people, but and those that are working in hospitals and other healthcare. Restaurants have opened up in areas like states like Texas and in states like Louisiana, and they have seen a dramatic rise in COVID cases within a 2-week or less period. So it's been a giant cluster from not only a federal, but a state and local perspective, because nobody really understands or really knows what the overall impact is going to be. We can loosen things up and everybody wants to get out and get their hair cut, but who wants to go out and get sick and take a chance that this is going to kill you or give you a even further respiratory disease? So I know that we're exercising caution, and we're continuing to try to support locals as much as we can with takeout once or twice a week, and supporting our local grocery stores as much as possible. And even now that the CSAs are opening up, I've just joined one out here in Mechanicsburg, Oak Hill Farms, and I'm excited to get there and see what they have to offer. So I just implore everybody to take it cautiously and take it easy, and let the government and the experts figure out what's going to happen and how we're going to get out of this.
Yep.
All right, I'm off my soapbox.
Thank you, Chef. And I do mention I got my haircut today, but that's because I'm married to a hairstylist, so haven't gone out.
And I'd like to mention that I haven't gotten my hair cut. That's why it looks like this.
I had a nerve. I had my wife do it the other day. I need a barber.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
I think Tom Long's hair looks terrific. See what I tell you?
But I think, was it your secret, Chef, that your wife's always cut your hair? Was that your secret or no?
Nope.
I can't tell my secret.
Come on, Tom. You got your
I just know somebody, that's all.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? And I mean, I can definitely keep the meeting open if anyone would like to talk, but anything else for the meeting here that you would like to share while we're all...
Yes, I have one more thing. It's some very, very old, and I do want to emphasize very old business. Saturday is almost like a national holiday. And I just want everybody to mark their calendars and set their text messages to go out at 12:01 a.m. and make sure that we all wish Gype a happy birthday. As I said, very old business.
So Saturday at 12, so Saturday is his birthday. Okay. The 30th?
How old, Chef?
I'm going to guess 59, 60.
62.
62.
64. 17.
Yeah. Thanks, Doogie.
Well, happy birthday to you, Chef.
Happy birthday, Charlie.
We'll plaster it all over Facebook. All right. Anything else anyone would like to share?
Charlie, give me a call tomorrow about 10 minutes to 7.
I have you down for 6:45, brother.
Oh, 6:45. Okay.
Okay. So our next meeting then will be via Zoom. Let's just go ahead and plan on it now. It will be the third Monday in June, whatever that date might be, at 7 p.m. We are looking at ice carving logos. Chef Long, thank you again for putting that together. Anna, thank you for touching base as well as coordinating. We've got an exciting competition going on with the cookies. That runs until the end of the month, May 31st at 11:59 p.m. Just to kind of end it at the end of the month there. So I'm excited to see what our students do. I have a long list of communication that I'm going to be sending out, as well as the recording of this video, which will be available tomorrow for anyone that views it. I think I'm the only one that viewed the last one 50 times to take the minutes, but it's there if you'd like to watch it in its entirety again. Otherwise, with that, I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Thank you. I had Chef
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone.
Hey, Charlie, what platform are we using tomorrow?
Google.
Google.
Yeah. Do you have Chef?
Patty, there was a question in chat about the contest.
Is it in my email?
It will be in your email.
Okay. All right. I'll see you in the morning. What are you making for breakfast for yourself?
I'm not sure yet.
I'm not either.
I'm sure I'll have something.
Maybe a nutritious cookie. I'll suggest a nutritious cookie that you could share and send. I'm pretty sure we have an oatmeal cookie that Chef Long did we can show. And Steph, I think the more the merrier. I think as many creative cookies as you come up with is the more that are able to be judged. If you want to enter a couple different varieties, I think that's great. The more
I might even make a video on cookies. I'll come up with a healthy cookie.
That would be great. And I'm going to, in my next communication, I'll send out that we have the spritz cookies, and there might be a couple other really good. You know what I thought was phenomenal for any educator still on? There is Tasty put together a video. Yeah, I'm talking just a minute. Tasty put out a video that it analyzes the best chocolate chip cookie and what happens when we melt the butter versus browning it versus softening. What happens when we use all-purpose versus bread flour versus. I mean, it's my class taken out and put into a video. It's awesome. It shows the different. So I'll include some of those. And really, I think that's the best way to engage everyone is just to keep these learning, educational components. Yes, this is my daughter, Nina.
Hi, Nina.
Who has been waiting so patiently to say hello.
Hi. Hi, Nina. How are you?
What a kitty.
Good girl.
I was telling her even Julie was on earlier, but we don't see Julie. You see Anna?
Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Hey, I think you know a lot of these different. That makes you such a celebrity in this world, huh?
When
it comes to the cookie competition,
yes.
What exactly are the cookies being evaluated on?
Well, Chef Nodder is really looking to make sure that it is. She's the most creative, nutritious cookie that could be out there that specifically concentrates on lowering cholesterol. So she's looking for something that sounds tasty, that looks great, is a little creative and different, but mainly nutritious, I think is the main focus.
Okay, so that's low cholesterol.
Yes, that was her clincher line, was something that lowers your cholesterol. So that's why I joked around, can you add in the recipe a 30-minute walk? That would be the cholesterol.
Plugging in place what bakes.
All right.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, like I said, if anyone wants to continue chatting, by all means, I'm going to go ahead and stop my video. That way everyone can continue, and then I will shut off and record.